Well, our grand finals 1-1 tied apiece. We got an even slate heading into game 3. Execration. They'll put some respect onto the bounty hunter that Geek Slate tried to have success with in game 2. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but get some respect, so maybe opens up the draft for them in this first phase, Danog. We also should mention that there's a bit of a difference. This time, Execration are going to be on the Radiant side for the first time this series.
Yes, they will. And you reckon Dawnbreaker is going to be a bit of a priority in this first phase? I think it might be.
I have no issues with Mirana being priority as well for Execration, considering that is something that they have had a lot of success on.
I agree. Again, flexible too. So make sure you're just picking it up. Could they just go down the avenue that was tried earlier today, though, in the Tiny? Obviously, it was Bob playing it. It didn't work out quite so well, I believe, in that game, unless my memory is completely shot. But you could still run it in one of the off lanes. It's like they're tempting them to go for the Ember Spirit pick, you know?
Right, yeah. That's is there something else crazy we're thinking about? But yeah, look,
might be a task. Who knows? It feels like it's a little okay, something a little different. But I feel like Naga Siren here could be counted, can't it?
I do believe you. I think it stops you from going that Visage, which is pretty important. It's something we've seen Execration put a lot of emphasis on in the first phase. So I don't think it particularly stops you from going Ember. Like, I really would like them to go down this route. Is there anything else that you can think of?
Ember, Pudge, Leshrac.
Okay. These two from Geek Slate kind of take away the Tusk Mirana as well, you think?
No, I don't think you want to go down that route. Like, this is a Mirana game where obviously the Starstorm's going to have a lot of effectiveness. If it gets later on, you're either going to go into the Aghanim Scepter if you feel like you're lacking damage against the illusions, or Lotus Orb just to be able to counter out that ensnare. You could also just go down the route of giving this over to Shanks and then going again the Lion or the Dazzle as one of the other responses to the Naga Siren, right? Even if someone's getting caught inside of a Static Storm, as long as a Dazzle's in position, it doesn't really matter. You're always going to be able to get the Grave off towards the end of their HP and, of course, deal with that Naga Siren. So we'll see what avenue Execration want to go down. They're still just going to go for their ganking potential. I like it. Decent magic damage against the Naga. Horrible game for Disruptor. Good combination together with the Mirana. And I still feel like Geek Slate are going to have too much to have to ban as the direct counters to this Naga Siren.
10 seconds remaining.
So I think the Execration bans are going to reveal a lot. So, for example, if they start getting rid of heroes like the Slardar, which I think they're probably going to get rid of if they were at all towards the later end, just so that it's not really telegraphed of, hey, we're picking Pudge. So, yeah, just go down the safer route, right? Ban what's good for now against the existing heroes. So something like Alina Ember Spirit doesn't have the greatest time in that sort of lane, so may as well get rid of it. For Geek Slate, I think they want to be getting rid of, again, Pudge, Leshrac, Morphling, Dazzle, Lion, maybe a Pango. Probably less that. That's probably the short list for me.
Okay.
Radiant team ban.
Razor. I guess a lot of illusions was always going to proc the Storm Surge.
Still ban the Pango as well. So new territory here for Mr. Cox. Not expecting to go back into the Nature's Prophet anytime soon for them. Geek Slate.
Drag him through the mud.
10 seconds
Just
remaining.
wasn't comfortable on it. That's it. Nothing crazy. I'd like to see him continue practicing it though, considering if this is
not the practice. Oh.
Wait, why you? Come on, man. What do you mean? Everyone needs to practice. So there's nothing wrong with it.
No one's perfect. Well, they do get rid of the Pudge, so I'm happy that one of the big counters has been removed.
So we'll see if the Leshrac's going to be considered as well. For Geek Slate, going to be looking more than likely towards their support. Are you just looking for
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe an easier way to have that control versus the Ember Spirit? Is that something that you'd kind of like for this support to be on Armin?
Yeah, it could very well just easily be like a Crystal Maiden, for example. Something that provides a little bit of that passive mana regen to a Naga Siren, so that when you're roaming around the map, just spamming a mirror images, it's nice. decent kill potential in the laning phase. A lot of people underestimate Naga's kill threat in lane. If you get like level 4, point in the ensnare, even level 3 sometimes, if you've got like
Dire team ban.
what you think is decent kill threat, then I think you can make it work.
Okay.
I know they've already picked up a disruptor, but this feels like a game where you need to prioritize his farm a little bit more. You know, make sure that he's getting up into the farm for the Aghanim Scepter, for example.
10 seconds remaining.
Be really nice if you do have that late game
5
potential with
seconds
the
remaining.
Song into the Static Storm. I guess that's really the one advantage I think GeekFam are playing with at the moment, that they do kind of have that team fight synergy. For Execration, they don't particularly have that at the moment. In regards, they have a lot of advantages in other aspects where lane shoving, pick off potential. So we'll see.
Trying to think what else they might like to go around, like what avenue, because we've seen a couple of Grimstroke games so far, and it's not terrible against Ember and Mirana, but I feel like that plus Disruptor is a little more awkward, whereas CM can at least like she can go into the jungle, she can throw out a Frostbite onto some creeps and pick up farm in that way, whereas Grimstroke kind of needs to stay out in the lane a little bit more to have the influence, but
Radiant team pick.
we'll see what avenue they go down. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a block pick coming out here, but of course against the Ember Spirit can be quite effective in just removing the Flame Guard, making sure that you're getting a lot of the dispel onto your units as well
10
with
seconds
the chains. So it could also
5
just be a
seconds
game to
remaining.
go Aghanim Scepter this time around for the Brew. I really feel like the Wind Panda is going to be fantastic if you can just have it up at all times.
Radiant team pick.
As that Dawnbreaker priority doesn't get bumped up too crazy in at least this game in particular, but we'll see. Previously, it has been Shanks playing it. Let's see what they're going to look to do. I still feel like this is very much a Palos hero. We have seen him play it in the past. Maybe it's a
10
little bit more
seconds
different now because you kind of have Bob. Yes, he's a great Ember Spirit player, but doesn't
5
particularly
seconds
fulfill the role
remaining.
of like this kind of late game-esque win condition where you kind of put the leaner into that category, or like a Templar Assassin as well.
I think Tino could play this as well. Like
Yep,
they're
yep.
very specifically targeted a lot of his heroes. The Razor's gone, the Batrider's gone, the Enigma's gone. And they actually Grimstroke themselves here. I mean, again, against a lot of illusions, it's not too bad. And anything that's going to enable you to provide a bit more time to be able to get the kill onto the Brewmaster before he splits is always going to be a nice thing.
I feel like
Something
there's.
really that's going to be
10
amped up though
seconds
by the
remaining.
Soulbind.
Do you feel like there's any value in like a Nyx assassin for GeekFam, or could
5
a
seconds
Brew Nyx
remaining.
game be Nyx lane be very punishable?
I think it could be pretty punishable. Trying to think what else could work. Not really a Rubik. Not sure actually. I'm just trying to think like are you just thinking as a direct answer to Ember and Dawn?
Radiant
Yeah.
team ban.
Okay, they go the tiny route. So I was thinking if they were going to go someone else, I kind of would have liked another way to be able to proc the Cinder Brew, which I don't think Tiny really fulfills that role due to his kind of meta issues, but gives you
Probably
another way
Tiny.
to say that. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, they haven't showed their mid laner yet, so they still have a lot of flex. That's a nice thing about picking up the Tiny at the 18th. Matches up okay versus Ember. Your armor can be a bit of an issue in the lane with the slight spam, but you do have decent right click advantage where you might be able to get a little bit more net worth before the Ember's able to get like a orb corrosion at a decent timing. So can really go back and forth. I think it's more a skill based matchup.
Hmm. I mean, to me, I think this is a Dawn 3 and a Grim or Mirana 4. I'm not 100% sure what the support's going to be, just because it's going to do a decent job of dealing with the Naga Siren. You know, the percentage slow is always going to be good against
10
Naga, one of the
seconds
fastest heroes in the
remaining.
game. Lots of magic damage against a high armor hero is going to be
Radiant
really
team
solid.
ban.
So I think it's going to be just fine. And again, you don't really hate staying in lane that much against the Naga. I feel like you're going to be able to sustain yourself just fine.
They made a life steal on Execration. What do we make of that?
Good question. I mean, the last team that we saw play Naga
10
as a
seconds
support pretty
remaining.
regularly was, I think,
Dire
Wildcard
team
at the TI Last Chance qualifiers.
Radiant
Yeah,
team
Secret
pick.
played it in Game 3 of the Grand Finals as well.
Yeah, but it wasn't regular, you know.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, you're saying regular. Then I guess another regular would be Entity.
Mm. True.
So
So where do they think this Naga's going to go?
10 seconds remaining.
4?
suppose.
5 seconds remaining.
Do you want to lower the priority? Do they feel like it was maybe they feel like it was counted too heavily with Ember Dawn Grim?
Yeah, but can't you just then put the like if it's a core still the Naga Siren, then you just get the Dawnbreaker to follow it. I guess you don't know, you don't have the last pick overall, so that makes life a little bit more challenging. And they still need something that's going to hit towers. That's the biggest issue for mine for Execration. Like, what is actually going to be enabled to
Dire
do that?
team pick.
I like it. This is something that I was talking about in the first phase.
Yep.
Even if it's not like a Naga 1, for example, you still probably get the Aghanim Scepter against this and replicate, just because you're always going to be able to get it off onto an Agi hero,
10
right?
seconds remaining.
Doesn't feel like it's the greatest game to be able to get a strength
5
hero with the
seconds
Aghanim Scepter,
remaining.
just because inside of the Avatos combo, that goes off at the same time. Inside of the Static Storm, that's the exact same time. So it's all about the damage for mine, and I don't think Execration have any shortage of damage this game. And now they've got that hard carry to be able to close out the game. I like their draft quite a lot.
So I'll give you out some suggestions. I think if you're going to try and flex the Naga, actually no, mine's Sluxman, so I'll go away from that. I think the Rubik has a little bit more value now if you do put the tiny mid, just because you have that instant stun and the telekinesis, which you really need versus the Morphling. If you do not, this is an incredibly free Morphling game.
What about a Leon?
That also looks pretty good as well.
I speak for the tree.
And we go down the Nature's Prophet route. So it will get flexed. Where are they putting the Naga?
I was just waiting for Cox to get the Nature's Prophet. Unfortunately not, though. It is going to be a 5 Naga Siren. Okay, paired together with the Nature's Prophet, it's going to be units on units on units. It is Tino and Shanks playing together in that lane. So, I mean, this is a really strong stroke of fate at Celestial Hammer lane, assuming that it's just going to go as normal. So, I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, the treants and the mirror images are going to take a fair bit of a beating, I would say. And they don't have the hugest amount of lockdown for this Morphling. It's going to need to Narman to play out of his skin, but at least they have bumped up his priority, right? So that he's going to get a little bit more of that farm. He's going to get into the Aghanim Scepter a bit sooner, and he's going to have a little bit more of that survivability for when Bob inevitably is just making a beeline for him.
Yeah, I think you're going to have pretty big Morphling issues this game. I think Palace will... Okay, I'll start with it. If Geek Slate are going to win, I think a lot of it comes off the back of Force's game. I think it's a pretty good Brewmaster game. They do also on Execration lack instant control, silence or stuns, whatever it is. It's really just going to come down to the Grimstroke Phantom Brace. I know it's on instant, but if you can get that off before the Primal Split, he could potentially go down, and that is a must. I think the Brewmaster can take over the game, and if he doesn't, I'm really concerned on Geek Slate being able to address this Morphling. It looks like an incredibly free Morphling game, but they might have some difficulties with just how active we could see Geek Slate get once again with the Nature's Prophet.
I'm going to prefer Execration's draft for now, just because, you know, you want a little bit of that third time's the charm story. Of course, Geek Slate have had a very impressive tournament so far. You want these, I'm about to call them a new roster, but I mean, it's GeekFam. They've been around in Southeast Asia for quite some time, just taking a small break. And, well, isn't it fitting that Skem just gets to go back on his Nature's Prophet? It's one of those heroes that, as a 1, he was one of the guys that was really the pioneer for the aggressive style of playmaking and just pushing around the map, stretching the hero to its limits.
Those have...
Still waiting for the Skem Chen, man.
I didn't know he was Master Tier on the Nature's Prophet.
Oh yeah, he's played it plenty.
Okay.
30
Did you say the Skem Chen? Is that what I heard as well?
Yeah. Do you not remember that?
Not really, no.
It was at ESL 1 Thailand. He was playing position 1 Chen for Neon.
Oh, you got the deny.
And they were winning with it too, which is the crazier part. It's kind of like when 33 was playing Pos 3 Chen for OG. And
Force?
Well, he said he needed to have a good game. Giving up your life this early on is not how to do it.
No, it's not as well. And really, that's so important because they're also swapping the lanes. So now he's going to be forced to TP top. And I wonder if you just look to TP bottom. And in fact, they won't even need to. Tino's going to start running down bottom because they saw the Furion with this lane ward. So this is horrible now. Like, this is really, really not good.
Yeah, that TP's already been used. You can't switch the lanes up, and this is exactly what Execration were wanting. Celestial Hammer, Stroke of Fate, Mirror Images, plus the Treants are going to have a pretty horrendous time. Alright, top side. How are we looking? And Carlo, he's just going to be harassing from afar. Again, going the pure stats build, trying to... It's not like when you were going up against the Bloodseeker, for example. This is a Brewmaster, a different kettle of fish altogether. Doesn't have
Kettle
the
of
same
fish?
capability for survivability.
Is that a
Kettle of
saying?
fish? You never heard that?
Oh, I mean, probably, but it just sounds weird out of your mouth.
Why?
I mean, if I've heard it, I don't
You're just
remember.
a hater.
How's a kettle of fish? What's this?
You don't cook your fish in a kettle.
No, is that actually
That's
what
what
it
it's for, man.
is? I genuinely can't tell if you're trolling me. Why would someone cook your fish in a kettle?
It's faster. It's like air fryers. Why do people use air fryers these days? Because it's faster.
You put it in a kettle.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No, some boiled fish.
Alright, let's go back to speaking about the game. I'm honestly feeling dumb. I can't tell if you're trolling me because you're like a challenge dumb. But like now okay. Thank you. Back to the game, Dino. On to Schem and your top lane as well. Force is also gonna go down. Yo, not looking good.
No, it's not. That's on the plus side. They were able to get the snipe onto the courier there, so Tino's not going to be able to spam out those Celestial Hammers quite as much. He's still got the Mango, and actually Shanks has 3.
Wait,
What is it, Chuckles?
Carlo, what? What's going on in this top lane? Oh my god. Okay. So first off, started by Carlo tried to leap away in the tree line, and then he leaped into this little nook where they don't. Yeah, he tried because Schem TP'd straight back on top of him and almost killed him. But Carlo tried to leap over bottom lane, who's dying, and it's going to be Shanks that's in trouble. In swell. Powers, yeah. Gonna try and come down. And maybe with the body blocks will be enough. Or just got some movement speed though. Up there, Shanks like, alright, let me get the last hit on the illusion at least.
Oh, it's going to be even more difficult now. He's got the Boots of Speed picked up on the Naga Sirens, so 330 base movement speed. Very balanced, Ice Frog. Thank you so much for keeping this in the game. And, well, it's just going to be even more difficult. I almost wonder if he even wants to come back down to this bottom side, and no, he doesn't. He wants to try and get a kill up top. See if they can find this pick off onto Schem. Goes too far forward. Get the slow off. Carlo, is he going to be in position to land the arrow? Actually, he doesn't even have it leveled up. So, wonder if that's a bit of a communications issue coming through from Execration there. And now you've left this Palace solo down bottom. What is going on?
Just some musical lanes. I mean, I don't know if I'm too surprised though, considering we spoke a lot. Like this Nature's Prophet can't be leaning. Goes the Grimstroke along with the Dawnbreaker. So Palos
they chose to go out of that lane on Execration. That's what I'm confused about. Like they changed this up. Why though?
Carlo is in some trouble as well. Leaping if required. Really holding it to the last second.
I'm confused.
Did they?
Anyway.
Because they put the little Morphling bottom to go against the Brew, and then they just followed that with Schem.
I think they moved him bot when the Brew was never bot.
No, he just was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Surely not.
He was.
Maybe he's died twice, and I'm just completely forgetful. We were talking about fish, that's why.
Alright, blame me. Alright, what the hell? Dude, you're the one that freaking brought up the fish. How am I... I'm not getting blamed at all. No.
How's mid lane going?
Well, a little bit of damage on a Cox with those tower right clicks as well. Only 1 point actually in the slight here. Top lane, Nalman is actually going to end up going down, so Shanks and Tino able to find a kill. Tino up to a killing spree. Really wonder when we're going to start to see some Mirana rotate to mid. Is Bob? All right, no tips this time. I'll hold the tips to later on in the game.
They know how valuable they are. You're gonna ration those tips.
Cock's going to get a refill in the bottle as well. Really nice. Pal's actually going to waveform aggressively into Scam. Double leap from Carlo with a Star Storm. That's enough damage to be able to bring him down. So, very nicely done. In our top lane Force, he's also going to be killed off as well as Tino can gap close thanks to the Inkswell movement speed. And this is going to be a great level 6 timing. And they've got the catapult wave that might get a little bit of damage in the tower as well if they shove it out fast enough.
Tino's dominating already. 4-0-0. I wonder if he even wants to shove this lane in, or if he actually wants the creep wave to connect. Push a little further back, keep the siege creep alive for a little bit longer so that the Ember Spirit can perhaps hit up onto his level 6 with that 6-minute power rune. But Cox is trying to protect the top route as a couple of heroes die. 3 heroes die. What?
Well, everyone's dying across the map. Cox gets the rune as well, unable to use it to dodge the Inkswell. A cute attempt, but in the end to no avail as, well, now we'll get a tip.
Yeah, it's more of a, I think that one's a bit more of a good job, sort of, good try, rather. Sort of tip coming through. No BM involved there.
You reckon?
But,
I reckon it's BM. I reckon you messed up the illusion
Not
dodge
everything's BM. They just glimpse Palace back to base, by the way.
Oh, God. What a start to the game.
Shanks
Shanks?
is about to die.
Alright, easy one for them to find. They'll play the distance. Glimpse if required, but it will not be bottom lane. Scam is going to go down as well. Carlo's got the damage after that last leap, so... Holy crap, what is going on? 15 kills.
I mean, this is how the lane should have been for the longest time on Execration, and I really feel like they've thrown away an opportunity for them to just completely body this bottom lane. It's gone very well, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, this is... You can't let a Nature's Prophet get out of control, and he's still struggling a little bit on the old net worth.
Carlos is in a lot of trouble. He's going to waveform into Scam and not playing with a Qualiant Blade, so... At least he'll have a TP shortly when he respawns, won't have to make the walk.
This is a lot sloppier than what we've seen in the previous games. You know, players looking to go for these super aggressive kill attempts, and, you know, sometimes you just feel in yourself and it works regardless, but this time around it's not working at all. Force as well, nearly getting towards that Spirit Vessel already, and kills like that are just going to put him on his way.
And importantly, gets him in 6 though, so they won't even need it to help with the tower push. They might actually look to go mid potentially with the level 6. You get a kill into the Ember Spirit, maybe opening up an objective. Or even
Just missing on the Searing Chains there. And now it's time Cox giving him a little bit of the, tried to go for the double style points, but Force just stealing away the DD up top. So, yeah. Tower obtained.
Top lane, Scam.
Might get a kill on Scam.
Arrow into the Solar Guardian. Not going to matter if he gets out of range of this, so Tino's now committed to the lane. See what they want to try and do with the ultimate on Force. They're going to look to try and move in. And they close the distance, so Tino will slow them down, and no glimpse play from Narman was actually... You know, he could have popped the stick for the mana if needed.
This is big for Force though, right? Like, if he gets into this pre-10-minute Spirit Vessel with boots, like, suddenly Morphling, he's just got to be following him around the entire game. You know, obviously Primal Split used for the big team fights, but the important thing is just making sure that Palos does not take this one over. He, of course, has the potential to, like we were mentioning before, pretty free Morphling game, but, I mean, if you're just having an annoying little brew, panda face, bear thing coming around at you, then you just are never going to get to that stage.
And more heroes going to be put in the grave as Shanks dive out of the tower. Scam and Rogi gotta get the kill pretty quick though. Execration is starting to react. Tino's gonna look to try and TP down, and actually will be able to keep Shanks alive. And meanwhile, with the smoke from Execration have run into Force, definitely not the target they want to be face checking. Primal Split at the ready. Even Cox walking on down as well. Treads completed, so not gonna have the movement sweep off the back of the potential phase to help close the distance. But at the end, they should look to try and put some pressure onto the tower.
They realized they can't chase an Ember Spirit and a Mirana though, right? So they moved back. They made sure to go back towards the tower as much as they could. They're kind of stuck down here for a little bit now, trying to force a team fight out, it seems. And you can tell that Force really wants to use that Primal Split, but the team fight just doesn't eventuate.
power runes. Going to spawn up top once again, so Ember be able to refill the bottle. Narman, can he get in range with the glimpse?
Force
Not
has to
going
be
to
a
be the
bit
case.
careful here, and well, pops it.
Now Tino, well, he's the one that's actually in trouble. Gonna try and play with the Solar Guard, but the Avalanche will stop that short. And now Shanks, they weren't able to cancel his TP, but a first primal split of the game gets him a kill onto position 3. They force out the ultimate, and now opens up an objective for them to claim.
They didn't use the Cyclone there on Force, surprisingly. He was in range for it. But, yep, still get the team fight, get the Spirit Vessel back up to the 2 charges. And this is, again, with that siege creep there that they're using to get a little bit of damage into this bottom tower. That'll do a good amount of work to open up the map. You can even start to use Roger to pick up a bit of farm, but also just influence the creep waves, right? I think he might try and double up a few waves just so that the Nature's Prophet, once he gets into that Maelstrom eventually, is going to be able to flash farm so much quicker.
So you kind of said,
Upside, Spirit Vessel, he'll get away.
so you kind of said before that this, there was a static storm used mid as well. I think Ember maybe dodged the glimpse back potentially, but you said this earlier on that this game definitely more sloppy than all the other games we've seen. What side kind of prefers the sloppiness that we're getting though? As Cox some trouble. Glimpse back on a Bob, not going to be able to dodge it with a slight, however. Now top lane, Palos, they're also setting up onto the Morphling. Wait for him to reset, but it will not matter. There's that Spirit Vessel like you were mentioning to try and deal with him.
Make a fine human.
I mean, I was going to say that probably GeekSlate prefer it a little bit because it's going to provide space for Palos to be able to farm, just because, again, I really feel like Execration had the most ideal lane setups to be able to run away with this early game, but despite that, the net worth lead is just going back and forth between 2,000, 3,000 gold, more towards GeekSlate.
The river, Bob. Gonna be able to run it onto Namba, but Roger playing with the defensive song, and they're actually gonna bring the numbers. They don't have the split on Force, but Cox with the blink reveal, they're gonna be cautious about the Solar Guardian. So much health, give him back over to Execration. And now they'll turn over to the left side and catch out Cox as he tried to enter the high ground. So in the end, very nice hit on from Execration.
It wasn't the perfect cancellation of the song into the Avatos combination, right? Most of the Avalanche was actually completely wasted. They got the primal split here, but I'm not sure if Force wants to use it.
Oh, he might not be able to get it off with the Phantom Praise. It's a great
Good
static
static.
storm, but a bit too late. Still the damage coming out from the supports. Bob's able to get out of the kinetic field, though. Great use of the illusion, and another kill for them to find. And again, look at Palos. I know he's not getting too much, but just the fact that he's getting a little bit of farm across the map is so important for the Morphling.
Yeah, he needs to build into that Manta style ASAP. There's no... I guess once Shanks gets into the Aghanim Shard, he's going to have a little bit of an easier time to protect the Morphling. Nice arrow again from Carlo, but not enough to be able to protect him. But yeah, there's no defense right now against the Spirit Vessel. That's why Force is just following Palos around the map as much as he can.
A split for this, yeah, it's going to be the case. Palos glimpse back. Wait for him up in a couple of seconds. Should be able to continue to chase him afterwards. They need to reapply the Spirit Vessel. If detection though, Sentry's going to be laid down. Palos can he chew through the tree line? Nah, still inside the Sentry range. They're going to be able to cut down the tree, so they'll find him in his little nook.
Back up to do Vessel
Jesus,
charges.
what is going on this game? He's got 5 deaths.
Yup.
Oh my god, we got 26 kills.
This is what happens when you give over a first blood to the Brewmaster, and he's able to scale off of that. Get a much better start to the game than I'm sure Palos would have been expecting.
Scam is loving life, dude. Top of the net worth. He's got Maelstrom Midas completed. Blitz Knuckle is what he's working on next, so...
Dire are scanning.
I actually don't even remember what that builds into. I need to check.
Shadowblade or Witchblade?
Thank you. Smoke up Execration. Looking to invade into the jungle of GeekSlate. No one's home at the moment at the Northern Hemisphere, so GeekSlate will be able to keep themselves safe. Maybe they'll look to try and put some pressure into the top tower. They're not really the greatest way to take objectives unless it's the Morphling kind of hitting buildings.
No, they don't. I mean, I feel like Tino might be able to do a decent job with the Echo Saber. I want to see him pick up that Ogre Axe, though. I mean, it's not exactly some great unknown that a Dawnbreaker wants to go into the BKB, but he might be considering the Blink Dagger just so that you can get that additional little stuns going in onto the Brewmaster immediately at the start of a lot of these team fights, because Force is still such a key factor that prevents Palace from being part of team fights at all.
Force might get ran into here. Bob's gonna see him. Innocent looks the Remnant away. Force had a bit of a weak stage there with the Primal Spit on cooldown, but the rest of the team are very close to connecting to his location. They're not showing on the map for quite some time. They don't know where the Tiny's playing. This is not easy. Maybe trying to force some reactions and... Well, there's the jump in from Cox. They need the Static Storm, and they're going to get it. A great toss back into the silence, but have they got the damage between these members? The Spirit Vessel will be able to help out.
Nice coordination coming through there. Narman again. He just seems to be on another level when these
Palos
team fights
mid lane.
happen. And oh no, Palos.
Oh, Coxy Cox. And he's got a rune now to work with as well. Uh-oh.
You know, sometimes the game just isn't... It's not working out for you, you know, and this is just one of those ones where every single move that you make, they're just one step ahead of you. They seem to be able to read your every move.
Yep, no raindrops on... Oh, Tino, glimpse back. They might have... He got so much distance with that hammer. I believe used it actually before the glimpse, but... Yeah, no raindrops on Palos. Also, kind of unlucky he didn't get the Possess Mask as well, considering the Morphling was sent to the jungle early. Would have loved to have some sustain to help out, but... is playing from a large deficit here is the Morphling, so it's going to be after the back of the 4 other members to make all the space he needs. Cox again with another jump and just another easy kill. And he used the Arcane for that, so the abilities are going to be back up shortly. They're going to be cautious. Cox is ready to go once again, and the Song groups them up. Instead, he's going to go for the Grimstroke. Another assassination out of the Tiny.
I love how Roger's able to make these supports work. You know, always just playing that little... What's he's considering? He knows they've got some sort of vision. Might be able to catch out Roger, but no! Static!
Into the combo. Even Skem's going to get involved as well. 9,000 net worth lead. A higher lead they have at this stage in the game than what they had with the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, and this is a draft that can scale, for sure. The Nature's Prophet, Tiny, late game, very scary, and I mean, Nagasaran can even convert into being that semi-carry. Just consider some of the big ultimates as well. You know, the Solar Guardian starts to come in. Just pop the Song of the Siren. As long as you got the Aghanim Shard, you're going to be healing your team for just as much as he does.
Oh, they might look to jump Force. What's going to play? You really need to get in range for that Phantom's Embrace, and they won't be able to. Given an Ink Spell over to Bob, but really like a Void Spirit or a Storm.
Early use out of that Ink Swell as well. Just that additional little bit of survivability. Again, I want to see them playing a little bit more up towards this top side with Palace. He's got the Ultimate Orb at least, so a little bit of extra stats, but until he gets that Manta style, he can't be left alone. That's the sort of situation where Force can literally just get a kill solo against the Morphling still. And that shouldn't be the case 18 minutes into the game. They're just trying to see where Tiny is. Every single time Cox shows on the map, he knows that he can at least farm that one extra creep wave and then go back into the jungle. If they could get a kill onto Force, that'd be huge.
Chains. Sets up for the arrow, but the boys are starting to TP. They have to blow him up from 4 to 0. And they won't even be... Oh, they get him at the last second. Tino's even going to look to get involved as well. They can glimpse him away if they want to, but looks like they just want the kill instead, because Skem stands strong under the cover of the BKB. And now Palace, he's going to be caught out as well. Glimpse back into the Static Storm, and Cox has all the control they would need to bring him down afterwards, as Geek Slate only lose Force.
I mean, when your Nagasaran has the same amount of farm as the enemy mid laner, you are going to be pretty happy. And yeah, I don't know how Bob has fallen this far behind, but it's not pretty. I mean, the reason that you pick this in the first phase is to set up together with your Mirana, and instead you're the one getting set up on.
Bob, Remnant doesn't get enough distance. They're actually going to glimpse him back to Cox. And they know exactly where he is. The Thunder Strike to provide the vision. He's going to toss his own illusion forward instead.
Styling, man.
Oh, this game.
All right, going into the Shadow Blade on Scam, I was considering with the Bliss Knuckles, he could have also opted to go into the Orchid if he felt it necessary. I mean, considering how this game has been going for Morphling as well as Ember Spirit, really wouldn't hate it. Just to be able to lock them down, burst them through. Barely any stats on either hero, so it would have been a very, very easy kill for them to pick up. It's not like they're going to be converting into Roshan anytime soon either on Execration, but, well, at least Palace has the Manta style.
Yay.
Can afford to be out in this lane solo,
Might be
but
dead.
not if Cox is there. Double damage?
Well, let's see if it's going to pay off here. Chain control is ever so perfect.
Didn't need the double damage.
I sleep away from Carlo.
So you got drums and mech now on Roger.
So farm.
I mean, it's not like he's even gone full support build, right? He's got 1 point in snare. So it's just about bringing out these beefy illusions that take a lot to be able to kill, considering all of the farm and stats that he's gone, these cheap value items. And then they're actually doing a pretty good job at keeping a lot of these lanes pushed in, so there's just nowhere for Ember and Morphling to farm. Feels to me like Tino needs to take a little bit more of that dangerous farm.
This really feels make it or break it, honestly, 21 minutes in. If this Moonlight doesn't pay off, then it's just Roche for Geek Slate, and they won't have a map to play with, so... See what they can get. They're going to see Tino as well.
The seeds of fortune.
You got to get Bob's Maelstrom, at least, because their damage is just not there.
Smoke as well.
Another.
Forcing the river. He's got the boys behind him, though. That's not an easy kill at all. Hood, and he can activate the pipe as well. Good luck killing him, because you've also got the song to set up for the Static Storm. Tino pops the BKB, so he's going to be okay, but the rest of the other members on Execration will not. Bob gets the slide away. One more right click. He's able to dodge it with the Remnant. Roger's hunting, though. Won't be able to close the distance, but those 2 kills should be able to net themselves the Roche.
And one more tick of that Cinder Brew, and he actually would have died there on Bob as well. And again, he was forced to just buy another TP, so he's just still staying so far away from being able to pick up even just the Maelstrom. He needs that one item so that he can contribute to these team fights. This would have been a fine setup like 7 minutes ago, but not for right now. You are way too far behind.
Warriors of the wood.
I think
Great use of the song as well for Roger.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's played a very, very good game. Greaves almost completed out of the Naga Siren.
Are scanning.
How up that dude? That they're this stage of the game where they're like, let's give X1 a palace and maybe.
So he can farm.
Oh, it's like farm, just maybe feel a little
Get
bit
the
safe for a couple
dispel.
of seconds. Cox unable to get the toss back.
You sure you want to go forward, Palace?
Dire
Yeah, I don't know.
attack.
Okay.
Static Storm's up now.
A little far forward.
He's
Oh,
chilling.
they use the
So by now,
Manta.
they're looking at trying to get Narman off to the right side. They won't be able to. Maybe with Bob coming over. So they will be able to get the kill. Palace almost going down. Cox able to jump on forward. Still inside their own jungle though in Execration. Can they get out? Carlo's going to be able to leap to the high ground. Tino looking to try and escape as well. He's got a BKB, but he will not be able to TP out. How do you escape? It looks like all the other members won't even be able to as well. Get rid of Carlo. Tino pops the BKB. Force the Solar Guardian to get inside the base. Oh my god.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great, does it? I mean, he feels to me like the one that's so burdened to be doing all of this damage, right? He's going into the Desolator next, but there's no way for him to get onto the targets that really need to be closed in onto, right? It feels to me like he just needs that Blink Dagger instead. Blink on him, Maelstrom on the Ember, you need to waveform and just fully commit onto killing anyone. The burst damage needs to be there. They could just find that one pick off onto a Brewmaster in particular. The team fights could feel so different, even 19k down. Can't wait for the copium in the chat.
What's the probability? Yeah, 2%. Nothing crazy.
How about now?
Oh, yeah, the Disruptor's definitely going to turn it down to 0.
That's a Mirana.
Sorry, the Marana. Sorry. Glenn's back. Nino's chilling. What's happening bottom? Skem's almost getting a solo kill. Silver's Edge right-click into Gleipnir mid lane. Oh, they're going to look to try and make a jump. But Scam, look how aggressively he TP's in. Into the backline, swung onto multiple heroes. They're actually going to lay the Static Storm down as the Morphling, recognizing he can't get out of the AoE silence. Kinetic Field will expire pretty early on though, so Palace, maybe going to wait for the Glimpse to try and get that waveform away, but where do you waveform to? They're just surrounding him. Cox is holding the blinkers, able to close the distance. Toss back to an easy kill. Carlo's going to be rooted up as well. They're actually hesitating about going to the high gun. They're making sure there is no opportunity to bleed over some kills.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah. I mean, again, just one of those lanes that shouldn't have gone as well as it should for the Brewmaster. I know we're seeing a lot of great plays coming out from Roger. We're seeing a lot of great plays from Narman. But for me, the MVP of this game has to be Force. Like, he has just been an absolute menace in Palace's side the entire game. I mean, Cox even, big props need to be given over to him for how dominant a performance he's had. 17, 2, and 6.
Yeah. That's a scary, scary KDA. Might be able to add another one to the tally. Carlo's not going to expect Cox to be nearby. A little slow, though. So instead, in the lane, it's going to be Scam that gets a solo kill. And Bob will run into Narman. I'm sending them away, but it's all Solar Guard in, so they're going to commit for the kill. And we're back to their own triangle as well. Carlo's going to be able to at least stop the blink on Cox. We'll be up shortly. And the Root's going to hold the Ember Spirit into place as well.
Nice,
so the chain control will not matter, however. And Scam off to the right side as well. Is even able to run into Tino. This one, yeah, you're at the territory where you're probably wanting to call it quits.
Pretty soon, pretty soon. Come on, use that Midas Scam. Don't leave it on cooldown. Oh, Palace, not again.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
It's a little slow on the damage.
Yeah, definitely should go for some more items. More damage items, right, Scam? Who needs a Scotty? Alright. Jesus.
Big boy. I wonder if they've got like an internal competition of like, all right, who can get the most kills onto Palace? Because that feels like every single time he steps on the map, even for a second.
No way. Palace?
No way.
No way.
I mean, it comes to that stage. He wanted that kill streak gold from Cox.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, we're speaking a lot about the Dawnbreaker priority in this series. I wonder whether Nature's Prophet's going to fit into that in this next game.
Yeah, pretty high up. I still think.
Radiant's top tower
That,
has fallen. Radiant structures are fortified.
could Tino have carried this game? Probably
Radiant's
not.
top barracks are under attack.
It was a good Dawnbreaker game. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Radiant's top barracks has fallen.
Geeks like just mold them, dude. What a performance! Just not even close. It was very, very messy as well from them in the laning phase. They make
All
the
right, maybe
10.
now on the brute.
Arrow connects, but where's the
Never
damage?
mind, he hasn't
Especially
even
now with the
popped,
greaves.
pipe yet.
Tino's going to be forced to pop a defensive BKB. Gets out of the sprout, but won't be able to get further back inside. Or will he, Tino? Actually makes it inside the fountain. Shank's going to be able to survive as well, so at least that split expended. Scam's ready, though. Look at him inside the base. Who do they want to jump?
They could just kill all these brewlings, honestly. They're so low.
Oh, Cox, that's a huge combo. Two heroes just evaporate inside their base. Now Skem's going to tip it to the other side as well, trying to target down Tino. He will be killing with ease, and now also move over to Palos's life as well. Geek Slate, what a convincing game. Holy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be wary of the Naga Siren that forced out a few of the bans like we were talking about, but that switch to the support, this is what makes Roger very, very scary to play against. You know, he's able to have almost the same level of impact as a core Naga Siren without any of the net worth to be able to do so. So, well, I was wrong. I really thought Execration would be able to make a much better shout out of this game. You know, everything seems to make sense. You've got the Grimstroke and the Dawnbreaker against these multi-unit lanes. You've got the Mirana and the Ember Spirit for these gank combinations, and Morphling, of course, to carry the game. But didn't eventuate. Way too many kills given up for free, and sometimes it just comes down to that execution.
And that was really a big thing through the early game. Very, very messy, but GeekSlate, they were able to kind of use that to their advantage. A lot of heroes moving across the map. We spoke a lot about Force and what he was able to do for them, though. But just the read for him, wherever the Morphling was, whatever lane he was in, Force was instantly trying to move over there and be as much of a nuisance as possible. So, well, GeekSlate, this new roster, one game away from being able to be crowned champions of the BTS Pro Series 13 and more for Execration. Keep in mind, guys, this is their third trip to the Grand Finals. Third trip in a row to the Grand Finals to the Pro Series. And both sides haven't been able to take it. They got 3-0'd by Polaris. And then last year, they got 3-2'd by Boomin. Well, is this year going to continue to be the trend of losing in the Grand Finals? Or will they be able to stop it short? Well, they still got a long road ahead of them. They need to try and force a fifth game here. But GeekSlate well and truly in the driver's seat. We'll see if they can continue with that momentum into Game 4.